Those stories shortly, but first, the fall of Mark Standen from one of New South Wales' most powerful policemen to disgraced criminal has been epic. Today, a jury found Standen guilty of plotting to import millions of dollars worth of drugs into Australia. He used his privileged position as the former Assistant Director of the New South Wales Crime Commission to help dodge customs scrutiny. Standen came undone because he was desperate for cash to support a gambling problem, and he was seduced by the five-star lifestyle of the drug lords he was meant to be pursuing. Deborah Cornwall's been following the case, and a warning, this story contains coarse language.
I sit here now thinking if we're on opposite sides of the table, thinking that sounds really bad, it's highly suspicious and very untidy.
It's 3 years since Mark Standen's extraordinary double life came crashing down around him.
Mark, I want you to listen to me very carefully, okay? We're here to arrest you.
I hope you're kidding with me.
I'm not, mate, I'm deadly serious. Do you understand that?
It's a G up? Yeah, it's got to be a G up.
No, it's not.
As Chief Investigator of the New South Wales Crime Commission and one of the most powerful cops in the country, Standen had to be arrested by his own workmates. The prize catch in a global police sting to smash a major drug cartel.
What I'd like to do now, it's going to take me a minute or so to set up, is just to play you a couple of recordings.
Right from the start, Standen has always insisted it had all been some terrible misunderstanding.
Well, just unarrest me, I'll go home and come back tomorrow. What do you like?
I think we should suspend it then.
In fact, it took a 2-year international dragnet to finally nail Standen as what the Dutch call a crooked hat. The bent cop who'd been acting as the eyes and ears of a Dutch drug cartel in part of a plot to produce the country's biggest ever haul of the deadly street drug ice.
So that's actually after he had been in jail, so it's not the arrest photo, that's...
Charles Miranda was the European correspondent for News Limited when he first stumbled on the investigation, just 4 months after federal police had identified Standen as a target.
It was amazing. I think my first thought went to that Hollywood movie Usual Suspects, where police forces around the world were looking for the key conspirators, were looking for that break in the case, and all the while it was sitting right in front of them.
It was the story of his career, but he would have to wait another 5 months until Standen's arrest before he could finally go to print with the story.
When the AFP visited our offices, they basically said, this is the biggest security breach in law enforcement history.
G'day, mate.
How you doing? But did you manage to get a cash advance?
No.
No, that's not good.
The blanket surveillance on Standen captured hundreds of hours of phone calls, meetings, payoffs and coded emails between the chief investigator and his 2 co-accused. British career criminal and international drug dealer James Kinch, a one-time informer of Standen's, and family friend and small goods importer Bill Jalalati, who used his business as a front to try and smuggle in 300 kilograms of pseudoephedrine in a rice shipment from Pakistan, enough to produce $120 million worth of ice.
So they never for a nanosecond thought that Bill would import any drugs of any sort. He talks anti-drugs, he talks about hang the bastards is one of his favourite sayings.
In his only police interview, Standen tried desperately to talk his way out of trouble, casting himself as a trusting soul who appeared to have been set up by his long-time friend, Bill Jalalati.
So he often plays the sort of the dumb lad. It's probably as close to a pathological lie I've ever met. I have let thousands upon thousands of obvious lies slide without pulling them up because I accept that's what it's like.
His defence is very much, I was humouring my friend. Yeah, he was talking about drug imports. I thought, whatever, he's so full of rubbish, I'll just go along with it. It was almost game playing. He had a friend who was a simpleton in his mind, and he was humouring him.
Standen kept up the bravado all the way through his trial, even when confronted with months of secretly taped conversations in which he appears to be taking the drug deal very seriously, including coaching Jalalati on what to say if it all went wrong.
I'm not ever with me. Well, I would say, well, look, we've been friends for ever since we met Di. We've always talked about business opportunities, we've looked at doing, we've explored this, explored that. As far as I know, you're always bringing stuff in on our lot.
He also shamelessly used his police contacts to ensure there were no suspicions over the rice shipment. The federal police, he said, just weren't smart enough to catch him.
Well, what I'll do now is I'll ring the surveillance guy and see what he's doing. But if you're lying to you, wouldn't need to. Unless I already knew the connection. But the only thing that I don't know about. But that gives them too much credit. They're never that good, you know?
The Crown said Standen had been running the Australian end of the drug enterprise, taking instructions from his one-time informer, James Kinch, who was the middleman for the Dutch drug cartel.
And I like to believe in people, so it kills me telling a story because it highlights the stupidity.
Once again, Standen cast himself as the trusting dupe.
Kinch gave up all the syndicates, all the groups that he worked with. He named the people. No one ever believed that he would retire. I did. I was prepared to.
He very much tried to engage the jury during the trial. He would make these bold statements which were clearly ludicrous, but he would look straight away to the jury and look at each individual face as if trying to get some sort of acceptance, to sort of get a bit of traction in his argument. He was very cocky.
But it was Standen's wildly excessive spending and the huge amounts of money he'd collected from his co-accused that proved hardest of all to explain. The Crown said it was impossible to guess just how much cash Standen had received. His salary after commitments amounted to about $500 a week, yet he spent a staggering $4,000 a week, at least $220,000 more than he earned. On top of that, he'd also lavished his 24-year-old mistress and co-worker, Louise Baker, with extravagant gifts and a lifestyle to match.
All of a sudden he was buying Tiffany bracelets, he was doing luxury holidays, he was staying at 5-star hotels. He sort of liked the charm surrounding that lifestyle, that a criminal could earn more than the investigators and could live this charmed life before they're stopped.
Perhaps the most striking thing about this case is just how many red flags had been there for years about the way Standen operated. It was well known he'd had a major gambling problem and he played fast and loose with his criminal informants.
I'm just going to remove a kilo of cocaine from the safe here.
In 2004, he'd authorised a botched operation in which police released 7 kilograms of cocaine onto the open market to try and shake out a drug network. Only 1 kilo was ever returned. But again, his bosses backed him because as far as they were concerned, he was their best operator.
A lot of his friends said he had a bit of a narcissistic personality. He was better than everybody else, he thought. He was earning more. He could do whatever he wanted to. Whatever he wants, it's all about Mark Standen.
This interview is now concluded.
And on Monday night's Four Corners, reporter Marion Wilkinson has a fascinating in-depth look at the Standen case. It's well worth catching if you can.